Welcome to the Time Value Software Training video series. This session will demonstrate how the TaxInterest FIN 48 IRS State Interest and Penalty Excel add-in software can help you streamline your UTP interest calculations for your FIN 48 reporting within your Excel spreadsheet. This solution can substantially reduce your calculation time from hours or days to mere minutes. Currently, you may be using TaxInterest software, shown here, to calculate IRS, state, and international interest accruals, and then manually transfer the calculated numbers over to your UTP tracking spreadsheet. The process might involve entering the date, the amount of the tax, selecting the interest rate table, clicking on the Compute button, and calculating for the appropriate date, the second quarter of 2025, for example, scrolling through the report to search for the corresponding interest number, transferring that number into your spreadsheet, and then repeating the entire process for all your remaining positions. This might be manageable depending on the number of positions you track, but the process is time-consuming and increases the risk of transposition errors from a multi-step process. The TaxInterest FIN 48 Excel add-in simplifies the process by integrating the tax interest calculation engine directly into Excel, enabling efficient and accurate calculations within your spreadsheet in one operation. I'll demonstrate how in one of the sample worksheets that are available in the add-in. You can use these as a sandbox or implement into your calculations. The first one is calendar quarter, shown here. This is the most generic, and many of our customers use this as their go-to. In it, we're keeping track of 16 different positions. Some of them state jurisdictions such as Pennsylvania and Texas, and some of them are using the federal jurisdiction. First, we'll activate the Tax Interest Engine tab located in the top bar. We'll click on the Insert Function button and select the Tax Interest Engine for the category. We can now view the tax interest group of functions available to us that are represented by TXI. You'll see that you can do balance calculations, calculate interest through a particular date, define a period in which to do an interest calculation, or do a quarterly interest calculation for a given calendar quarter. You can also do GAT and hot interest for those types of calculations. For our example, we will select Quarterly Interest Calculation and click OK. The dialog will appear where we define the parameters for the function that we've selected. If you have the corresponding fields on your spreadsheet, you can select them from there, which is what we'll do. We'll select the jurisdiction, the amount, the date. I have a cell built for the year, so we'll select that. And since we're doing a second quarter calculation, we'll click in the quarter field and type the number 2. And then we'll click OK to close the dialog. Now we can see our calculated interest number right within our spreadsheet. To do that same interest calculation for all of our different positions, we can simply drag that through, and instantaneously we'll have all of our interest calculations calculated, taking into account the corresponding jurisdiction, methodology, beginning date, and UTP amount for that particular calculation. Another sample worksheet included in the add-in is the fiscal quarter. Here you will notice that we do the TXI period interest calculation. In this calculation, you can define the period which we put up here for your calculation. The third worksheet is the accrual with adjustment. This is a more sophisticated calculation. To ensure accurate calculations, we categorize the different methodologies into separate buckets. We have the daily quarterly compounding, the simple old, which are simple interest calculations, and the annual compounding calculation. Once organized, if you have adjustments on a quarterly basis, you can enter them here, and the program will calculate an interest adjustment, update your year-to-date totals, and provide an adjusted balance along with interest for that quarter. This worksheet is especially useful for managing complex UTPs with multiple variables in your calculations. Essentially, what the FIN 48 add-in does is remove the manual steps and provides an audit trail with detailed reports for each calculation. If you want to see the report for the first cell of the second quarter, for instance, which is H7, we can just go to the Tax Interest Engine directory where we have our add-in installed. Within that directory, the program has created a folder called Reports, where we can select the worksheet for H7 that has been generated as a text file. And if we scroll through the tax interest formatted report, we can see the number that we're working with. You can also quickly open reports by selecting the cell that you want to see the calculation report on. Click on the Tax Interest Engine tab, then click on View Report, and it will open the detailed tax interest report. The TaxInterest FIN 48 Excel add-in automatically generates all reports that can be saved to a folder, so that new reports can be created without overwriting those from the previous quarter. Rates and methods for interest calculations are built into the TaxInterest FIN 48 Excel add-in. Each time you open the program, it connects to our server to verify interest rate tables are current. If updates are available, it downloads those tables automatically, ensuring that your calculations always utilize the most up-to-date interest rates. In the spreadsheet shown, I've inserted a function that shows me the end date of each of the interest rate tables that I'm using in my worksheet. At a glance, I can see how far out into the future rates have been updated. You now know the basics of using TaxInterest FIN 48 Excel add-in and how it streamlines the steps involved in calculating, recording, and documenting interest calculations for your FIN 48 reserves, saving you a substantial amount of time and eliminating the potential for human error. For more information about TaxInterest FIN 48 IRS State Interest and Penalty Excel add-in software, contact our TaxInterest FIN 48 support team at info@timevalue.com, call 800-426-4741, or visit timevalue.com.